Fletcher mixed it.
Hello, mommy, how you do? I saw the way you looked when I looked at you. No, I don't mean to be rude, but your backside got me confused. Sumami, baby. Sumami, baby.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if it's your first time here. And I'm back with another video. I've got the lovely
Christala FLETCHER.
Very good. So Christala, I don't want to speak to the camera. I want you to speak to the camera. Tell us about yourself so that my followers, by the end of this, they will know why I've brought you here and why I found you so it's inspirational and your reason for being here. So tell us about yourself.
So, as I said, I'm Christala. I'm an alopecia awareness advocate. I'm also a wig maker for the NHS. I also make wigs privately for a lot of patients and clients. But generally, I started in the theatre and film industry.
Okay,
and
is
that's
it
how
wig making?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and when you say wig making for NHS, is that something you do as in you're paid for it, or is that something that you do as a voluntary?
Yeah, no, so I'm currently contracted by the NHS to provide wigs for the oncology, which is cancer patients, and dermatology units. So essentially it's just a lot of people who are suffering with hair loss through treatment or through autoimmune diseases, whatever the case may be. And yeah, I kind of like help them get their confidence back a little bit.
So talk to me, alopecia, is that something you suffered with throughout your whole life, or is it something that you later had when?
So alopecia is an autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
So essentially what that means is your body attacks the hair follicles in your body and it causes them to fall out. Essentially it just makes you, it causes hair loss essentially, right? So I started noticing that my hair was falling out in patches, which is alopecia areata. So there's many different forms of hair loss.
So that's, I want you to educate me.
Of
so
course,
as you said, it's an immune disease, so it's something you're born with.
Yeah, it's something that
so
your
is
body
it something
can't
that
control.
you could be born without hair from the beginning, or that can happen
Absolutely, and that would be referred to as alopecia universalis. So there's so many different forms of alopecia. It's just one of those things. So alopecia is the general umbrella, and then there's different forms of alopecia that can present themselves in different ways. So people who are born without any bodily hair, though that can present itself immediately from birth, or you could have someone like my case where it develops over time and it can gradually get better or worse. There's no reason, there's no rhyme. There's nothing that you can say causes one person's hair loss more than the other.
It's not a trigger or anything.
No, it's just one of those things that it just happens, and unfortunately, even to this day, there's still so little that's known about alopecia. So you can't. There's a lot that we still have to discover. Exactly, and that still has to be investigated and stuff.
So you said you had it from 9 years old, but you said you gradually started losing hair. So is that when you gradually started losing hair when you was 9?
So I started off with like a couple of patches in my head, and then over time it got progressively worse. So when I hit 16, I realised that it was starting to come out in larger clumps, and it was taking a lot longer to grow back. So, and when I ended up getting sick when I was 17, I realised that it was like 95% of my hair was gone. So it was just one of those things where I was like, okay, well this is what I'm gonna have to deal with. And it was just one of those things I covered it with wigs, I covered it with pieces, I covered it everything. I did everything I could to cover it. And then it just got progressively worse through time, and it got to the point where I was just like, do you know what? It is what it is. And in my early 20s, I just shaved like the rest of that I had.
Early 20s, so that's still at a quite early stage, because I'm 26 and I couldn't imagine myself taking such a say, I'm just going to shave it off. I'd probably stick to wigs and...
Yeah. I mean, for a long time, don't get me wrong, so you've got to think from 9 years old to 21-ish, I was rocking wigs, I was doing pieces, I was doing the most, absolute most. If you saw some of my wigs back then, it's a mess, it's a mess.
So how did you... Because at 9 years old, that is a lot to deal with. So is it something that your parents had to educate you about, or is it something that you had self-awareness and you was able to deal with it on your own? As did it affect your mental well-being?
Well, I was severely depressed from a very, very young age, and I think that had a lot to do with not really understanding it. When I first got diagnosed by a doctor, they literally said to me, boom, you've got alopecia, like...
That's it.
Good luck. Bye. Like...
There's nothing we can
there was no There was no help, there was no treatment, there was no guidance, there was no, you know, let me refer you to this support group as a child, you know. There was no, oh, let me help you out and go grab a wig. Like, there was nothing.
You got it, deal with it.
You've got it, good luck. That was the energy I got, right? And after that, I was just like, oh, okay, well, that's just that. Like, I just have to deal with it. It's just one of those things. And my parents didn't have a clue what was going on. My mum originally thought that it was all stress related. And you got to think, like, 9 years old, what is she stressed about? You know, and I know obviously it sounds crazy, but really, like, genuinely, it was like quite a regular, normal child, you know. I didn't have any crazy problems going on, and it was only this that just out of nowhere just happened. So yeah, it presented itself in kind of, I got very reclusive. I stopped going to school. Like,
I was about to ask you.
Yeah, I avoided school like the plague.
Yeah.
Like, I would just not be going to school. I'd just be like, yeah, I'm not going today. Like, I'm bunking. I'm doing the most to avoid my peers at school, right? So that was how I felt, and I just kind of it got progressively worse until, you know, high school. And
I was about to say, so do you feel like you missed out on your childhood as well, growing up, because you had to obviously deal with this?
I feel like if there had been the support network that I have now, that I'm trying to create for my followers, then I probably wouldn't have been so scared to approach the topic in school, in high school, in primary school. Because there was just, obviously there was, back then, in the 90s, this wasn't something people talked about. People weren't talking about wearing wigs. People weren't talking about, like, oh, I have this condition, and it's absolutely fine, because, you know,
there was
just
no awareness.
No, there was none of this. There was no support groups, there was no one to turn to and ask questions. It was just one of those things, you just have to, you know, you've got it, keep it to yourself, and don't let nobody know, because we don't want you to feel like, we don't want them to make fun of you, don't want them to, like, you know, try to make you feel away. Just keep it to yourself. And that's really, really detrimental to a child. Like, that's incredibly terrible for a child to have to hold in for so long. And, you know, it's one of those things when, you know, born in the 90s and stuff, I think we've become such a generation of let's talk about our feelings now. We've become such that we want to talk about things and want to get things out in the open so we don't make the same mistakes.
So, another question that I want to ask you, I don't know where we should go. I want to know how you, and I want you to tell my followers, because obviously I don't know if you know what I do or everything. I'm here for plus size ladies, and I want them to accept, to build confidence, to love who they are. So to see somebody like you who doesn't have hair and is plus size is literally amazing. So my whole thing is, how did you accept this was something you had to live with and be so beautiful with it, be so careless, so effortless? How did we get there?
It took a long time. It took a long time of kind of building up that confidence, but I felt like after I kind of went public with my alopecia, and I kind of like did that first post.
Oh, so did you do a first like kind of?
Yeah, I posted a picture of me wearing a wig, and I posted a picture of me bald side by side, and I've just put it on the internet, and I was just like, boom, that's it. And I just threw my phone and I ran. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I've done that. I was one Sunday and I just didn't look at my phone for hours, and I came back to like thousands of messages, and I was like, what the fuck? Oh, sorry, can I swear?
No, yeah, okay.
And there was so many messages of like support and like just people being so nice and kind and being like, "La, you look amazing. Like I'm so glad that you feel comfortable to be yourself now." And for like my immediate friends didn't even know what I was dealing with. Like it was literally my mom and my sister and my dad. Like those are my immediate household was the only people that understood what was going on.
So is it just you and your sister, or do you have other siblings?
Just my sister.
Okay, so how was that growing up in the household? Does she doesn't suffer from the same condition?
No, she doesn't. So, and you know what? She's been so supportive. Like she's been my ride or die from day one. Like she's the only person who I know. Like if there's a shoot that I'm going to, she's there. Like if there's something I've got to film, she's there helping me prepare. Like there. Everything. She's the one.
And within yourself, you didn't feel like that envy or that it was more. She was there for you. She supported you throughout.
Yeah, and you know what? Oddly enough, I didn't feel like when I was growing up, like, oh my god, wow, like she's got hair. Why? Obviously, you do have a little bit of you that feels like, wow, like. Why is it only happening to me? Why am I the only one in the world that's going through this? Little did I know, there's a bag of women out here that are dealing with the same thing. And it's just one of those things, you just get to know that it's not only you. And my sister was mad supportive, so there was no one else that I would rather confide in.
Do you feel like as well, being plus size, it made it harder for you to come out, or harder for you to accept, to be confident? Because obviously they can say, yeah, you're plus size.
I don't know. I don't know if it was. I feel like my main fear was being like bald. My main fear was just like shit. Like I don't know how people are gonna react to this. I don't want people to treat me differently. I don't know how to explain this because I didn't have the like vocabulary to kind of explain to people what was going on with me. It's only as I've gotten like the support of like the alopecia community that I've been able to kind of like being able to explain to people and educate people what's going on here and what, you know, hair loss is all about and why it should be as much accepted as a plus size woman, as someone who's gay, someone who's bi, that it should be accepted just as everyone should be.
So your weight was never really an issue dealing with the
No,
alopecia?
not the. I think the biggest issue was being
that's what I'm
bald for me.
saying.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Did it come hand in hand, or what was
I
it?
think my biggest issue was like, oh God.
Forget the weight.
Forget the weight.
I got no hair.
I got no hair right now. How do I do that first?
Another question I wanted to ask you is, does the wigs make you feel better about yourself, or do you feel better when you are in your natural state, your natural cosmetics?
I feel so much more confident when I am wigless, which is weird because it wasn't like that all the time. Like it took me a long time to get here, but like I used to hide in wigs so much, so I kind of still feel them a little bit like they're a little bit more of a hindrance to me now.
More than something like,
yeah,
where I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna put a wig on, yeah.
Oh God, I gotta put this wig on, I gotta straighten this wig, I gotta curl this wig, I gotta lay the edges, like, oh, let me just shave my head and go out, yeah? Like, I got time for this.
So on to the one you didn't really want to speak about. Dating! No, tell me. How? Because I don't know if you've watched, I done a video with one of my friends called Dating a Big Girl.
Okay.
And for me, I don't date. Obviously I've been on dates in my life, but I'm not somebody that meet somebody and be like, oh yeah, I want to take you out, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, let's go. No.
So how do you like? Sorry, I'm asking you, but how do you like?
You meet new people?
Yeah, like do you just like what? Run up at petrol stations? Like what's happening?
It's coincidental. If that's what's happening, then that's what's happening. You know what I mean?
Just bump into Tesco's. Like what's happening? How are we doing this?
I actually don't know, and I actually couldn't tell you. Let's just think about the past. It's always been just coincidental. Of just
it's
spoke
just
to
happened.
you. Yeah, and then even so, like, even when I do speak to a guy the first time, and they're like, oh yeah, I won't see you. I'll put you off. So even like the guy I'm speaking to now, it's just like, yeah, my friends are like, nah, he's good.
But like,
go see him.
So do you like link up? Does he come to you, or you go to him?
You're not allowed to come to my house.
Okay, so there's
Point
no,
blank period.
don't
That's
come in
not
my yard.
happening. That's not happening. Not at all. We're not gonna do that.
So you go to
We're
him.
not gonna do that. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm being all up in your business.
No, I'm gonna go to you. I would rather come to you because then I feel like I can leave whenever I want to leave. I can make the quick go.
I gotta go. Like I gotta go.
Yeah,
right.
in my house now, it's
I'm
like you're gonna get comfortable and you're gonna think we're comfortable and really
Yeah, then it's
I
gonna
want
be
you
awkward
gone.
when I want you go. Like it's awkward.
No one wants to be in that
I want my
situation.
space.
But yes, and I think that I'd rather. I don't know. I'm not a person. I would rather just be inside.
I hear that. We've all gotten very reclusive.
It's crazy because
Over
I
the
do
last
YouTube.
more
Yeah, I
over
do
the last
YouTube
year.
and stuff, but like I like my private life to be private.
Like so intimacy and all of that. Like you wouldn't share that with the.
Yeah. Like no one would ever see my partner. It would never happen.
Never.
Never. It would just never happen. It's just never gonna happen. No way. So yeah. Hello.
Sorry.
Hello. I was asking you the questions. I was thinking, where was we again? Because I'm lost. Back to you. So yeah, talk to me. How's that been for you? Obviously growing up, and I want to know from secondary school because, like, for me, secondary school, I was with the man them, so I didn't have to worry about dating. Just stick to that, and I find a lot of plus size girls do that. Be one of the man them, you're gonna be taken in anyway. Do you understand? Instead of me calling, oh, you're fat. Now, what do you mean? She's people.
That's my girl.
That's my girl. She's gang. Do you get it? That's my homie. So that was always me, and I kind of always had more attention. We're back here. We're back to me again.
See what happened? You see how? But it's because I'm avoiding.
Back to you.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. So I want to know from like secondary school. Like, tell me, how did it go for you?
I've always been a girly girl though. Like I'm not like a real girly girl. Like everything's got to be pink and shit. But I never went to like one of the mans them. Like I never kind of was like that. I was always just me.
So that's what I'm saying.
I had male
so
friends.
If you was actually a girly girl,
yeah,
and having alopecia, that would have been even for someone like me now. That would have been easy. I could easily put on a hat and a tracksuit and let it roll.
Right, exactly.
And I'm
you
gonna
don't
look
have
good.
to worry.
I don't have to worry about that. For someone like you,
who wanted to was
who
doing
wanted-
girl.
doing girl, but I can't slick up my hair. And back then, you were slicking it and swooping it. So, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was back then, like high school, I was doing a lot of wigs, and a lot of people they weren't educated about wigs, so they didn't know. Like they might have had
a bit of it, but they wouldn't really
but
know.
Because girls weren't up on game about wigs back then.
Yeah, because even
only
me, up to like the
now
past
they're
2 years.
they're doing lace fronts,
Yeah.
they're doing parts,
Yeah.
they're doing all this. Like people didn't know back then, so I could quite easily
Get away with it.
get away with it. But it wasn't until like college and them times where I was like, oh, actually, I need to kind of my first boyfriend, like proper boyfriend, high school shit, that doesn't count. Like my first boyfriend in college, like he was just so chill and he was so cool about it. Like he was just like, yeah, like back off your wig. Like it wasn't. He was a nice guy. He was a nice young guy, honestly. But like back then, I couldn't. I stayed with him for a while because he just made
was
me
that
feel
nice.
comfortable.
I ain't leaving you.
Yeah, he made me feel comfortable about like the fact that I didn't have hair, and I only kind of like. It was a couple years deep before I think it was like a year deep before I even explained to him like what was really going on. And even then he was just like, you know what, like it is what it is. Like you're still you're still like it is what that's just that. And then in my 20s, I went back into myself and I was like, I don't trust people to tell them what's going on with me. I don't trust you. I don't feel safe with you. I don't feel comfortable. And my ex, like when I was in my 20s, I didn't tell him nothing. I didn't tell him nothing at all.
How
He didn't even know.
How?
He didn't know.
How?
Wigs all the time, every day wig. Nah, honestly, he was, I just didn't feel comfortable or safe enough to kind of explain to him in that kind of depth. And I think that's the biggest part of it is if you have a partner and you're dealing with hair loss, you need to be able to feel safe and comfortable enough to explain to your partner what's going on and the kind of like the mental aspect of that as well, because it's like you have to be able to articulate how that makes you feel.
And I was just about to say that.
Going out as well, going public, going here, there, everywhere.
But then if you and him were together and like mentally you was having a down day or whatever, how would you deal with that then? Because then your partner's going to be the first person you turn to express that emotion and that feeling. So
exactly. I wasn't. And that's toxic on my behalf. On my behalf, that's a toxic trait I had because I'm going through all this, I'm dealing with all these emotions, but I'm not sharing that with you. So you don't know what the hell is going on with me. I'm going through all this emotion of thinking, oh my god, I don't know, my wig's not doing what I need it to do, or the patches are coming out even worse, and all of this, and I'm not sharing that with you. So that's on my part. That's not fair on him to expect him to understand what I'm going through when I'm not explaining it.
So did it have an effect?
Oh yeah, but I mean he was trash anyway. But like, let me not, because it wasn't all me at all.
He didn't deserve to know that anyway. It's a good thing you never told me that.
And do you know what? He just didn't. And do you know what? Now I know that. Obviously, I know that he that ex knows. But I just kind of think.
Have you ever rekindled him?
What? Never. Absolutely not.
So then you haven't really had an issue with dating. Then you've always been, because you've always hid it.
I at first, but like into like my recent last couple of years, like I have a rule now, right? That I'll only go on the first date bald. My first date with you, like we might have been chatting, I might have, look, Instagram flirting, might have been the first link up. I will go on that first date bald because I need to understand. I need to see how your reaction in a public setting with me being myself, and I'm comfortable with me. I'm very happy with myself.
I'm so happy that you are so
like, I need to see that you're
amazing.
comfortable first, because otherwise this ain't gonna work, and there's no point in me wasting my time. So that's my one top rule ever.
Well, I think I've kind of covered everything that I wanted to speak about. Do you have any more questions for me? Because it looks like you're really. No?
Do you know what? I'm so interested about how you navigate the attention? I'm really
away from me.
Oh no, I mean the attention that you receive, either be it online, in person, because you're a very pretty girl, and you have such confidence, especially
That's how I navigate it. Did you see the look? Oh, that's exactly what I do. I'm like, oh,
right,
thank you. Like that.
Yeah.
Exactly what I just done there.
Yeah.
That is
Do
it,
you
yeah.
ever kind of find that you're getting like a lot of sexualized attention?
A lot.
Yeah.
And I tend to just ignore it. Yeah, we just laugh at it, really.
Yeah.
I just laugh at it because I'm just like,
yeah.
you weirdo.
Because I find that like a lot of guys, they'll follow you. They'll follow you and they'll follow you and they'll follow you. Be in your DMs, be everything. But I find like sometimes I do get a little annoyed at the fact that you're sexualizing me, like.
Because it's a fetish.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I was going with it.
Let's go there, because this is the conversation that I have all the time, and I said, okay, plus size girls are a fetish.
How do you like split them down the middle? Like who's
you
there
don't.
for a good reason?
Anytime if anybody was to slide in my DMs or even approach me, first question in my head is, what do you want? What do you want?
Not what do you want, like.
What do you want? Because you're here for a reason. You're here for a reason, and it's really bad. And I think, like, I always get it in my comments, like, oh, stop thinking about yourself.
Yeah.
That means you don't think highly of yourself. You don't have no confidence.
Right.
I've got a hell load of confidence,
Right.
and I wear it well. But I also know that guy that's in my DM is only slamming in my DM because he saw thick thighs, big ass, belly. That's his fetish. That's what he likes. Do you understand? So of course I'm gonna be like.
Is there a difference between? Sorry, is
Fetish
there?
and
I know
preference.
we're on time.
No, we're good.
Is there a difference between fetish
And a preference.
Yeah.
You tell me, because I've been asking this question every single video I have with this is the question.
I think there is, because like you have guys who are like, oh, I only like, I like dark skinned girls, I like light skinned girls. That's their preference. That's
But then you can say that's preference. But if you say you only like dark skinned girls, then that's colorism. So it's like everywhere we go with this.
It's the way you go about it. It's like exactly what you said. If someone says to me, oh, I only date, and they're saying it with malice, it's obviously
but
a
how
problem.
is that malice? Oh, we're going to go to a whole new conversation.
Sorry, we can go deep. But like I'm saying, but with someone who has a fetish, I think when it gets kind of seedy and disgusting, that's obviously a fetish.
So if a guy starts
if someone
sliding your
just
DM,
appreciates you for you, and you are just happen to be something that he finds attractive.
but as you said, how do you draw the line? Tell me, because I need to fish it out, because right now everyone getting ignored, because I'm like, not you, can't trust you. How do we draw that line to say he likes me for me and he likes me because I look like the BBW category on porno?
Oh no.
How? Tell me, I want to know.
Okay.
Like, I want to know, how do I?
I couldn't answer that question, articulate it well, I couldn't. But I just feel like it's all in the person's intentions. It has to be. You have to take their intentions with what they're showing you and what they're giving to you. Because if they're saying to you, oh, wear this specific outfit because it shows off this, and this. Like, hold on a minute. Like, then you've got to start thinking there's something a little sus here. But if they're just like, baby,
how far are we going to get there? How many dates are we going to...
I'm not doing dates, so how do you know?
This is my thing, this is what I'm trying to say. I've got to now get to know you. I've got to now speak to you. I've now got to go on dates with you to now know that you think I'm your fetish.
You
so
got to give someone a chance, though. You got to give someone a chance. You do. You really do. Because if you don't, how are you ever going to get to know their intention? If you don't date,
tell me.
You
see when you stand in my DM, tell me what you want.
No, but...
Because you never know, you might slide in my DM and say something...
People chat nonsense.
Yeah, but you might say something weird and I might be down for it. You never know. You might slide in my DM and say, oh, I just want to... And I might be like, oh, you never know. Come and tell me what your intentions are from the beginning. I just want to...
You've been giving the info straight out again, guys. Like,
I want to know.
Just say,
literally.
I want to, but no.
You know when you look at a picture, you're like, nah. Because I would look at a guy's picture and be like, his sex appeal is mad. He looks like he would tear you down. We can get it just by looking at him. So if that's what you looked at me and seen, just say it. Keep it real. Like, you know what? You look like you can do the damn thing. I might find that funny. Nah, do you see me? I might find that funny, and from then the conversation will go.
You wouldn't be offended. Someone
not how. You're coming
like,
to me.
I just wanna like.
That's what you wanna do. I'm looking at you and I wanna rip your clothes actually. And the conversation will get flowing. But you're going to come to me with your alternative motive and you're going to start, what's your name? Where are you from? What do you like in a man? You're going to ask me all these questions. All these questions.
I'm not
and it's not going to go nowhere. I don't have, you see time. Essence. I don't have it to waste. I don't have it to waste, honestly. So yeah, maybe I should, but yeah, that's just me. And I think it's so hard for us to draw the line to say what a preference is and a fetish is. I think it's something that could never... They interlap too much.
I just honestly think it's all the intention and how that person comes across to you. Because if someone came to you with the right vibe and the right tone, you would accept it. And you wouldn't really question it too much. Whereas if someone's making you feel away, then yes, you know straight out the gate that person.
And for me, if you point out my insecurity, from obviously it's weird, isn't it? And obviously a lot of guys won't. But if you point out something that I'm insecure about or something, that's just gonna make me even 10 times more confident.
Oh yeah.
Because you've acknowledged it, you've put it in the chat, you've made me laugh about it. So now I'm now comfortable to a certain extent. Like for someone to DM you and say, "Why are you having that belly?" I'd be like, "Oh, it'll be a banter for me."
That's cute.
Do you get what I'm saying? Because it's
although in my case, it's not cute because someone messages me and it's like, "Oh my god, I love your bald head." That's fucking creepy.
That's a fetish.
That's a fetish. What?
Yeah, that's a fetish.
Yeah, no, sir. Absolutely not.
And that's what I'm saying.
You must be blocked.
It goes two ways. It literally goes two ways. And I think it's you as a person and how you would take it.
Exactly.
Because I was even in the Clubhouse room the other day and they were saying, they was like, what's the politically correct word when calling somebody fat? And I'm like, you can look at me and call me fat, I don't care. And they was like, yeah, but that's you. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. So if it's somebody else, then the word plus size. Not even oversized.
Yeah, exactly.
Oversized. Or if she's slim, you're not going to call her that Marga gal. You're going to say she's petite. Do you know what I'm saying? So I just think it depends on the person and how they receive the message. Where they are within themselves.
You gotta meet me where I am. Because somebody pointing out, like back in the day, you couldn't point out that I was bald. Like, I know I'm bald. I know that. But you can't point out. Don't chat to me. Don't chat to me about my head. Okay? First of all, don't talk to me about it.
No, I feel
now,
always, yeah.
Like, even like the word baldy, like I use it as a term of endearment now for my community. Baldy is such a term of endearment. It's so beautiful to me. It's like, let's, like crowning your baldy and making it beautiful, and even like my scalp care routines and looking after it and like polishing it and stuff. Like, right? That's my term. But someone calling, like someone be like, oh, that baldy. It's like that would have hurt me.
Yeah, it wouldn't now though.
But absolutely not.
Yeah.
I know what I am. Like exactly. I know what I am.
It's like
I know that you're identifying me with that because you can. That's what you see.
Because you're literate and you've got no more words in your vocabulary. So that's fine. You can use that word.
That's okay.
That's fine.
Like back then, it would have hurt me. It's like the same words. Like someone calling someone fat. That could hurt them. But then they're not on that journey yet. They're not there yet to be accepting of what's going on.
Take it from there. You just said they're not there yet. They're not at that place.
That level of acceptance.
So you tell me now, and this is what I try to teach my followers, fans, whatever you want to call them, is how to accept and how to say, this is me. I am what I am.
You can't be a victim.
How did you, like, what was it for you? Was it your support?
For me, generally, it was me saying, do you know what? I cannot allow myself to be a victim to this condition anymore. It's something I cannot control. I did not ask for. I did not cause. So why am I allowing this thing to control me? Why am I allowing this situation or this disease this
that
condition
1,000 other people deal with?
Allowing it to control my mood. I'm allowing it to control my movements. I'm allowing it to do everything. Every waking thought I had was about my alopecia. And I can't allow that something, I cannot control it.
Something that you got to live with.
I have to just, either I'm going to live with it and deal with it as a day to day, or I'm going to let it eat me alive. And I can't. And I was getting to the point where my depression had gotten so bad. Like, I thought, this is ridiculous. It really got on top to that point where I was like, do you know what? I cannot allow this to keep going on any longer. And that's when I sought out help. That's when I did get a therapist. I spoke to my therapist twice a week, and I joined a support group of all baldies, all bad bald women. Like, they were just so beautiful, and I was like, oh my god, these women are out here really doing things.
Why can't I be doing things? They're doing stuff.
They're here doing. They're here doing campaigns.
Everything.
They're here doing shoots. I'm saying, what the hell am I doing? Why am I wasting my time? This is ridiculous. So So, and that's when I was like, do you know what? Right, okay. So, I'm not alone. And I could actually have a whole group. And I need to set trend for the next generation coming up.
That's coming up.
Because there's a whole bag of young girls that are going through hair loss and they don't know where to turn. And I can't just be here like with all the knowledge and information that I've gained over the years, just sitting with it. I need to be able to share that, and that's how my kind of confidence built, is building up others, is how I built my own confidence. Yeah.
Well, I think that's all I have to say for you today. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out to come and film with me. And girls, like, this is what I'm saying. We complain about being fat, and fat is something that you can lose. This is a condition that she's had to live with, and she slays effortlessly.
Thank you,
and it's amazing. I just want to say, keep shining, keep being confident, and slay always. And remember, guys, beauty is nothing without ambition, and style is nothing without confidence. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.
Scratch mixed it.
Hello, mommy, how you do? I saw the way you looked when I looked at you. No, I don't mean to be rude, but your backside got me confused. So mommy.